wanted to talk a little bit about. So I came up with this with the impulse of growing up kind of idea in mind, and wanted to talk about one of those things that we clearly know is an impulse that we're undergoing right now, and we both share. And yeah, that's to do with the online tutoring company that Tianyu has funded, which I'm also a part of as both a tutor and maybe sometimes as a...
You are the general manager about that.
Yeah, okay. So yeah, let's talk about teaching a little bit.
Okay, so
how about you start with talking about your background?
Yeah, so I've been teaching for quite a long time, and different to Catherine.
How long?
I've been teaching for 10 years.
How did you start?
Okay, I'll get to it. So when I was young, I moved to Australia, and I did my education up until year 5. Year 5, and I moved to Australia.
Year 5 in where?
In China.
China where?
Shanghai. Okay, Shanghai. Okay.
So Shanghainese primary school kid coming to Australia.
Yes.
In Adelaide in particular.
Yes, that was a very...
So it was like a city boy to countryside kind of situation.
It was a very big cultural shock. I remember coming to Adelaide the first day, and we lived in an apartment, and like a unit, not really apartment, like a unit.
Yeah, like how many apartments were there?
Yeah, like a unit. And I was talking to my mom, and they were sorting out the furnitures and the boxes. I was like, I'm gonna go downstairs and walk on the street, because in Shanghai there are a lot of people and there are a lot of stores. Like you can see the vibe of the city or the province. So I was really naive, and we lived near Norwood, and Norwood is actually a pretty busy place in Adelaide. It's like next to city. And I walked along the street, and I can't see anyone. And I was like,
was it a weekday?
I can't remember. I think it was a weekday, but there's not much difference. There was literally no one, and
so sassy.
Yeah, and I didn't want to go very far because I'll get lost. I didn't speak any English, so if I get lost, I'm basically dead. And
wow, I'm surprised you actually had the nerve to go on the streets by yourself then.
Yeah.
Because back then I didn't do any of that. Even at school I was like super shy when I first moved to Adelaide.
Oh no, I was very, very chatty with my broken English.
Yeah, well, that's really surprising.
Yeah.
Maybe we should talk about that,
Yeah,
because I was really, really shy until maybe like year 10 in high school.
I think how teachers treated me was quite influenced on my way of behavior.
My teachers were super nice too, but the kids scared me off.
Okay. Yeah, I think that the students too. Anyways, so after about 2 years, don't worry, there's going to be a lot of that. So after about 2 years, my English got a little better, and I can understand about 60 to 70% of what people are saying, like in general, like everyday conversation I can totally get, but in terms of in the schoolwork and then lesson, there are still quite some differences. So my mom and dad, they sent me to Kumon, like a very Asian stuff. It's like a after school program where
there's Kumon all over the world.
Yes, it is. Yeah. It is the biggest after school program. So they sent me to Kumon to try to improve my English, and so math was just coming along with it. So because at the time my math was good, because China math was the hardcore math. We are very serious about math work.
Yeah, in primary school.
Yeah. Just put into perspective, we did algebra in year 3 while I don't know, Australian kids are still learning how to count.
Oof.
Yeah, they are.
That's gonna trigger some people.
No. But it is true. But by the time in year 7, they were getting to decimals and fractions. And in high school, my mom checked out the math textbooks in high school, and in year 12 they actually do calculus and trigonometry bits, which was unexpected. I don't know how big of an expectation that my mom like when you hear about
I'm surprised that she actually took the initiative to look into.
Yeah,
maybe we should talk a bit about like how our families perceive education too. I think that's
so I went to Kumon and for the intention to improve my English, but as you know,
maybe it was like a package.
yeah, like the speed for one's improvement for English is much slower than improvement for math, because math you can just bombard your exercise and you will be good at it. So I also
it didn't really require a lot of English
knowledge, and I was very fast at learning math stuff. So after about a year, I finished the entire high school math. You can get the whole story on my YouTube channel. Yeah, I have a YouTube channel.
Even though he doesn't
upload anymore, but it's called How I Completed Year 12 Math in Year 7. I know it's a very, very clickbait title, but yeah, I did. And after that, there was a very good tutor at the center.
But wait, a bit more context about that. He didn't complete out of free will, kind of. Like, it was very much a forced education at that point. It was just
I didn't enjoy.
He didn't have a life outside of studying at the time.
The only fun time I had was watching Simpsons at 6:30.
Yeah, it's not good, guys. Don't have that lifestyle.
Yeah, and I mean, it was miserable. Anyways, but in the Kimon Center, there was a very good tutor that I had. He is really good at teaching. Partially because he was at the time where he's like year 11 and he's doing the stuff that I was doing, like in school. And he and I went to the same high school a bit later on, and we had really good math teachers. And he kind of inspired me to want to explain things better to other people. So I went, just
after completing your Kumon course,
yep.
How did you become a tutor for them?
Yeah, I didn't actually at the start, because they didn't accept me because I was very young. They wouldn't feel like, they would parents would trust the kids into my hands.
You were like 13, 14?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And so, but coincidentally, there was a Kumon center that opened up just next to my school, my primary school. And
they didn't even accept you for, like, I don't know, marking papers and things?
No, they were very harsh. Anyways.
Yeah, probably because you were actually underage. Isn't 14 like the legal age?
No, because Kumon actually really encouraged students to start working early.
So what's wrong with you?
I don't know. I think I don't know.
Maybe they had enough.
Yeah, maybe. I think they were.
Why do you look so down though? It's not like you didn't find
exactly.
work.
Yeah.
Keep going with the story.
Yeah, so the new Kumon Center opened up next to my school, and the manager there was a teacher that I met once. And she's Australian, and she was really, really nice. And she taught English mainly. So I didn't have a lot of interaction with her previously, but I knew her and she knew me, kind of. Yeah. Because, like, as an Asian manager, whenever you have guests in the center, she would just brag about how good the best students is, and I was one of the best students, like in my center, and you're like, look at him, he's doing so fast. Anyways, but but I went into the center, and just out of blank, I don't know where that courage come from. I just like, hey, can I have a job? I completed.
So this is the new manager, Australian.
Yes, the new manager, and she's like, I didn't say that. No, wait, no, I was like, can I help out first for free? Because I didn't feel like that she would actually pay me to do my work. And so after about 2 sessions, I basically did all the maths in the center. Like I was in charge of all the maths in the center, and she was in charge of all the English in the center.
What does being in charge of all the math mean? Like,
in charge, basically marking, teaching, and setting homework.
So for how many students do you do, like?
At the beginning there was 4 students.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it wasn't a lot. It was a relatively small center.
And did they vary a lot in age, or were they all like the similar grade level?
The youngest one was about year 3, and the oldest one was my year level.
year 7,
Yeah,
8?
yeah, year 7, year 8 at that time. Yes.
Oh, and they were doing like mathematics at their year level, appropriate year level, or were they like all kind of learning the same stuff at Kumon?
Most of them were on fractions, but the one that was in my year level at the time, he was a little bit more advanced. He was Asian, obviously.
Oh,
And
you need to stop these. Hold the sassiness back a bit, man.
okay, and yeah, he was doing algebra, like part, and
Okay.
yes, I
Okay.
was, yeah, and after about two sessions of helping out, and she's like, I really like your work style.
Another question. Why were there no other teacher there to manage it? Or did you kind of just like take over even though you were
Yes,
like
I basically
helping
took
out?
over.
Oh, so there were teachers
No, there weren't
previous.
any other teachers. I think because at like if you're starting out at Kumon Center,
So you just kind of walked in day one and
yeah,
oh,
basically,
okay.
and yeah,
Landed yourself a gig.
yeah, I just start working.
Oh, okay.
And yeah, after about 2 sessions, she agreed that she was gonna pay me, and yeah, that was how I got the job.
Was it your first job?
Yes, it was my first ever job, and the first time I got the paycheck, it was $100. I was really glad. Yeah, but you know, for $100 for like a 12, 13 years old kid, well,
Yeah, yeah.
that's a
Yeah,
lot.
it's a lot.
And after working there for about a year, she closed down the center.
Oh,
Yeah, she decided that she went back to studying,
okay.
and but
This center sounds really small.
it is really small. It was
Like
it was
one
at the
teacher to look after the entire subject, and the manager decides whether it's open or it closes down.
yes, it was a very small center.
Okay.
It was in the back of the school where we had Italian classes. It was a very small room also. But after about a year, she decided to close the center, and she actually introduced me to another center, and that one was the biggest one, like in Adelaide.
Good stepping stone.
Yes, it was, and yes, and that got off, and I went into the center. It was very so differently. There were like 8 teachers there, and 8 teachers.
Suddenly there's competition.
Yes, 8 teachers, and you know, when you first enter the new environment, like you want to lay low, right? Like you don't want to be the very
The one that
cocky
stands
one.
out.
Yeah, like you don't want to be the cocky one. And I don't know how. Like I'm pretty sure there are a lot of good teachers there. So I want to see how I can fit into the group and see what my place is. So after about a month, and yeah, I just took over the math, basically.
What happened to the other teachers this time?
The other teachers, they mainly were the university students. And I think one of the biggest advantage that I had was I actually did Kumon, and they didn't do Kumon.
Okay,
So-
so they weren't familiar with the system.
Yes, and yeah, and I can kind of reflect back on previous chapters a lot more. And yeah, and I taught all the way up to year 12, like until year 12. And yeah, I came to Sydney, we moved to Sydney. And yeah, I started doing private tutoring, and private tutoring first of all for companies. And then I stepped off. Now I am opening up a private, my own company called Toru Education. The reason why I mainly did that is because I felt that a lot of teachers were underpaid, and the centers were taking a massive cut. So put into perspective, so if students have to pay about $120 a session, the teachers
Like
will only
one lesson?
yeah 1 hour,
Okay.
and the teachers will only get about $35 to $40, and the centers will take the rest.
But do you think they were entitled to it? Like, did they, I don't know, is that the cover for the facility, advertising, management?
Absolutely, like of course, but it should not be in a percentage of. It should at least be 50-50, I think. So what my intention for this company is that I hire really good teachers, and they get most of the money, and I only get a little of a small cut.
But how are you gonna manage, like, I don't know, facilities as
I think I can cover that.
Like, yeah, like what makes you confident about that?
What do you
What's
mean?
your approach
I
to
think
overcoming? Like, why? How do I? Let me reframe that. So, okay, so you were saying that big private tutoring companies take a huge cut.
yes.
But they were still kind of entitled to that because they use that money on facility, advertising, etc. What do you think is your advantage in this case, or like how do you think you will approach this by giving more to the teachers? How, yeah.
I think that if I can, for example, if I can pay more to the teachers, I can hire a lot of better teachers, right? I can hire a lot more experienced teachers. I can hire teachers that actually have experience instead of just university students that just want a part-time job. And I do want to emphasize on teaching quality, not just, I know I have a very high ATAR grade because a lot of high ATAR, high achievers can't teach. And I really want to control the teaching quality from my company. And I do want to feel that, I do think that students should get paid of what they, like students should get what they paid for, not instead of paying for the ads and paying for the
Oh,
facilities.
true. Okay, so are you saying like part of the reason why teaching quality can really vary is not only because of so the tutors they were recruiting, but also because the tutors were working for their pay.
Yeah,
But students, okay, so students want the quality that's 120 an hour, but
exactly.
the teachers only
I
get
do
30
wanna-
an hour.
Yes.
Okay, so they only do the 30 an hour kind of work
Yeah.
for their students. I see. That's an interesting philosophy. I follow. Okay.
And yeah, that is kind of like my background for teaching. So I've been teaching for quite a long time. It's mainly for mathematics, but only after when I start uni, I start to teach chemistry as well. And yeah, so do you want to talk about your teaching experience now?
Yeah, so very different to Tianyu. And okay, so first of all, I never had any tutoring experience myself. By that, I mean I was never getting tutored when I grew up. I was never the student being tutored. Yeah, in my family, we kind of didn't, like, my parents kind of let me off in the sense that they didn't really care that much about my grades.
That is very rare in an Asian family. Just put into perspective.
Well, they think I was doing it all right on my own, and I was, and also, I guess, okay, also coming from my upbringing, that kind of thing, I did have maybe a little bit of tutoring experience as I grew up. Like, of course, there here and there. Like, for example, when I sat for a particular entry test, I went for a couple sessions to, try and upskill myself quickly. But of course, that didn't really have much effect. And also, but that kind of experiences, and also experience with like learning sports in a group when I was really young, like learning swimming and stuff. Like, I hated that.
In China, right?
Yeah, in
They
China.
just kicked you off.
Well, they didn't really kick me off because I was like the smallest girl in the group. So they were treating me okay. Like, they didn't kick me off, but they still told me to just jump in the deep end anyways. So like things like that, like it wasn't, I didn't enjoy that experience at all.
I hated
learning in a group and feel like I wasn't, my needs wasn't really cared for, and I felt super self-conscious with a group of other kids. And like I said, I was super introverted and didn't really get along with
when you're in a group,
people
would you
like that.
do you feel scared of others? For example, in a sports setting?
When I was young, yes.
Okay.
Yes, I would really retract. And yeah, especially if other people were like super eager, I would just sit back and let them take the lead or whatever. Like,
okay. Because I'm actually the opposite. If I'm the youngest in the group, I would say I will take every risk. So if I fail, I have an excuse. But if I succeed, suck on you.
I'm so childish.
Yeah, okay.
No,
Keep
I
going.
wasn't. I was just shy in general, I think, and I didn't like the tutoring experience. And yeah, and because my parents didn't force me to, I didn't go into the private tutoring experience either.
Did they ask you, like, Catherine, do you need tutoring? Or did they just like, no, you don't need tutoring?
My parents didn't really care. They were always like more busy with work than to care about that. So yeah, they didn't really care. They didn't really ask. Maybe throughout a period, they were more interested in getting me some extracurricular activities rather than studying the things for school. So there was a little bit of that, but yeah, personally, I have never done any tutoring myself for school subjects. Let's just put it that way. So my experience with tutoring started when Tianyu founded Torah Education. Like, I became a tutor for someone else, even though I never had tutoring experience. So all of this is very new to me and still learning today. But yeah, so far it's been a really interesting experience.
The reason why I let you tutor, like at my company or our company, is like I only hire experienced teachers.
Because I'm a friend. Because I'm your girlfriend.
No, like when you taught me biology in the first year, I found that really helpful. Much helpful than the uni, like the lectures ones.
Oh, maybe I should say that. There is a little bit to talk about in regards to that, because my friends also found me just like helping them out with the subjects that we do at uni. They found my helping helpful. Like, they found my explanations helpful. But that is because I didn't. So even though previously I was saying, okay, I was doing okay in school, but towards the end of like year 11, year 12, I did pretty much no studying at all. I didn't feel like studying, and also in first year uni, I didn't feel like studying. But there was a point where I got really pressured to
make a change.
Yeah, make a change in second year uni, and I kind of had to change my whole like learning style and
like your approach to learning in general. Yes.
Yeah. Exactly, my approach to learning in general, and I had to quickly teach myself a lot of things, pick up learning skills quickly, and I picked up a lot during that time, and found things that worked for me. Experimented with things that didn't really work. There was a lot of resources online that I looked into and eventually found what worked. And because I'm from a background in medical sciences, there was a lot of new concepts in second year that we had to learn that was new to all the students. But at the time, I think I was able to understand a bit better because I kind of had my own way of learning it and like kind of like constructing my own mind map kind of thing. I like organizing the knowledge, the concepts, interpreting it, and then kind of like chewing it up and teaching my friends, and as a way of helping myself to learn. So before officially becoming a tutor, I helped my friends that way. Teaching them some
so like I can see that I saw that you were very good at tutoring, like helping me in terms of bio concepts. So that's why I asked you to like to join. And you're great, I think. Okay, let's just keep going. And how do you find teaching now? I think you've been teaching for half a year.
Yeah, almost.
Yeah, half a year.
Yeah.
How do you find that experience, and have you made any changes to your approach?
Definitely. So at first I was a bit nervous. A bit scared.
She was super nervous.
Because I've never really done it as a job. I didn't know how to really like apply the skills I had to teaching like year 11 level IB biology. I didn't know how to communicate with students. I didn't know, like, I had the idea that learning is kind of a bit different for everyone, and I didn't really know as a role, being in the teacher's role, how to help them improve their learning
experience.
Yeah. I was basically afraid of messing up.
Yep.
But now, having done it for a couple months, half a year now, I think I've gotten a lot more comfortable at communicating with students. I'm way more direct with my style now. I tend to so previously I would do heaps of preparation beforehand and try to imagine all the possible questions or problems that could come up in my lesson and try to come up with a response to everything that I could think of. But now it's completely different. I kind of just do minimal prep on the concepts that I'm going to learn, make sure that I refresh my memory on the key concepts. But through the lesson, I would be much more direct with my student. I would either directly ask if they are confident with the content that we're doing right now, or I would indirectly, give them some questions to do or work through some questions together to get an idea of where they're at and what I need to explain better or explain more of. Yeah. And I realized that, the goal of my students were really to consolidate the concepts that they come across in class. Me teaching them may or may not be the first time they're hearing about this. And so, yeah, it's really about figuring out the specific things that they need help with and try to adjust myself to complement that.
Okay. I think when you first started, you asked me quite a lot of teaching techniques, right?
Yeah.
And
I thought, at the time, I thought there were tips, tricks that you can do.
There aren't really any.
Exactly. I realized that slowly. Maybe there are some, come on, people would argue that there are some qualities that are common in, good teachers or good teaching. But in the end, it comes down to...
But what do you think makes a great teacher? For example, if you have this question, what would be some qualities of a good teacher that you can just say?
For me, personally, and I'm saying this because I have a particular teacher in mind, I really enjoy the kind of teacher that makes me really interested in the subject itself.
Oh, that's very vague.
It is very vague, but
because you can't really pinpoint a specific thing that will make you interested. You just have to keep...
No, there is something that really turns me on for the subject.
Go on.
And that is their own passion for the things that they're teaching. It is super obvious to the student when you are passionate about what you teach.
Of course. Unless you are reading off the PPT straight away.
Exactly. Yeah. Having gone through university, which means that we would have had a lot of lectures from a lot of different
and the
lecturers.
Quality of the lectures are very, very big.
It is so starkly obvious how different they are. So I really enjoy teachers who are passionate about what they teach, and that makes me, it's kind of infectious. It makes me interested in the content more as well, even though some of the content might be difficult. Their passion, when it comes through their teaching, makes me want to pay more attention. It really grabs me.
Yeah. For me, at least, I think that what I like as a really good teacher, besides all the communication factors, I think that teachers that make very good analogies that are very, very good. Because in order to make an analogy and where you can see the limits of the analogy, I think it's,
What do you mean limits?
for example, like the analogies, you can't follow it straight away, and you need to see where the analogy stops, like where the analogy doesn't work anymore.
Oh.
Do you know what I mean?
Not quite. Can you elaborate?
So, for example, let me think of an example. So, for example, if you picture an atom, okay, so you have the nucleus core and the electron outside. Like you can make an analogy of the planets and the sun, right? But the analogy will stops when you actually seeing how the electron actually form. It doesn't spin. Okay, so that's where the analogy stops. It limits analogy. So that, like, that's what I meant.
So you're saying teachers who
are very good at analogies, because when you just talk about atom, like students, okay, so that's an atom. So what? And they will be like, oh, it's like a planet system where the nucleus is like the sun, and all the planets are like the electrons orbiting the outside.
But they don't go overboard with that.
Yeah, but when they get to a high level, there's like, remember that analogy that I used? It doesn't actually work anymore. But now you got the understanding, then you can actually push analogy away.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do that.
But I think that teachers that actually make an effort into thinking about those analogies are quite passionate about teaching and their subjects. So I completely with you on the passion for the subject. Yeah.
I think passion. I think we're talking about two different kinds though. Because I was referring to more the uni teaching. The passion is from the fact that they actually study that subject, that topic. And whereas as a tutor, and in particular maybe like a one-on-one or a small group tutoring situation, the passion for teaching is reflected or manifests as the tutor's thoughtfulness for the way that, like, the thoughtfulness, like as in, actually thinking about what works and how to apply that.
Do you think it would be harder for teacher to teach in a class setting or a one-on-one? I don't know that you have any experience with one-on-one.
I don't have
you don't have any
class.
You don't have any class. I've taught class previously, and you can be a lot more irresponsible in a class setting.
I can imagine what you mean.
Like the skill sets between students are gonna be different.
Yeah.
And you would often have to compensate for the middle one.
Yeah. You can't. Yeah, it's not like you can.
If you give attention to every single one of them, all of them will get about 15 minutes of class time each, and that really sucks. And that's quite inefficient. So that's why I don't usually do that here in total education. Yeah. Okay. So I think you had a couple of students, right? And what do you think? Do you have a preference in which student to teach without getting to the names?
No, I don't.
No, you don't? Okay.
No. Yeah, because so far I've only had 2 students, and they are different. So maybe one student was more for like needs help more with understanding the biology concepts, and whereas the other one grasps the concepts quite quick and just needs more consolidation, maybe a little bit of extension, or I try to extend outside of the frame a little bit, so to pick her interest a little bit. And but for both of them, we kind of go through the same concepts and do similar kind of practice questions. But no, I don't have a preference in in my teaching experience.
Really?
For my students. Yeah.
Because I think we talked about this
yeah,
previously.
we did. And my response was because for me, I put myself in when I put myself in the role as the tutor, I get value from, or how do I say this?
You find it's much meaningful to help students, you mean?
Yeah. I find meaning, or I get value out of teaching if I feel like my students are improving. So as long as I feel like I'm helping them to improve, I enjoy that experience. Yeah. So
for me, it's kind of like a little bit different. Yeah, because I think I do have a preference in teaching experiences. Besides all the appreciation factors, I think that's quite obvious. Like if students appreciate you more, then you'll like enjoy the experience a lot more. But besides that, I find that when I teach more like more advanced students, when they challenge me and when they actually start to challenge and when to start to question the normality that I present to them, I enjoy that factor. And yeah, and at first I will feel uncomfortable
admitting that.
Yes. For example, like if I say this plus this equals to this, and they was like, why though? And I was like, I don't know. We just like this is kind of how we do it. But I wasn't happy with my own title. Like I want to extend on it. So after about, I think the difference in subjects also has an effect, because bio is very factual based, right?
But I completely get what you mean by when you are like intellectually challenged or yeah, but I kind of see it more. I get that as well in bio. Like for example, my student could be asking me the why when I explain something that I find obvious because I've been learning it and explaining it this way forever. But yeah, when they challenge my explanation, I also get those get a little bit put off but excited at the same time. But I see those experiences as like the cherry on top or like little sparks rather than
I love those sparks.
Yeah, but I get it. Well, so far I've gotten it from both students. So yeah, maybe that's another reason why I don't have a preference in my experiences so far. But I also feel like maybe the reason why you hold on to those sparks a bit more, like you put more of a weighting on those because you've been teaching for a longer time. So you would have seen maybe the majority of your students the normality, right? So maybe the spark is more rare for you. Maybe the mundane kind of style, like you've repeated yourself so many times that the experience has the normal experience has become mundane. Whereas so when once in a while you get challenged intellectually, you appreciate that more.
I had one of my favorite students, and he's a kid. When I told him, he was around about year 3, year 4-ish. He's from France, and he can speak.
I think you told me.
Yeah, and like things just click when I teach him. Like when he came to me, he was doing fractions, and after about a month after about five sessions, he was already doing quadratics. So things just clicks, and he does his homework. He gets he puts the effort in, and he's really, really, really smart, and things just work. And that is one of the best teaching experience I had.
Highlights over the years.
Yes. Oh my God. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think there is definitely a time factor. But you've just been doing it.
But I think that one of the reasons that he moves or he learns so fast is he is very proactive in lessons, and he's very, very engaged.
Yeah.
And if he doesn't understand something, he would very, very quickly point that out. Even though his understanding was about 90%, he want to make sure that 10% gets it. Yes.
Okay. Yeah, that's super relatable, and maybe I'm a bit shifted by that. Like I think, although I wouldn't say I have a preference, like that just reminds me, what you just said does remind me that how do I say, it almost makes my teaching easier if the student feeds back more often, and I can see that they're engaged. And when they're less engaged, yeah, I get a little bit, yeah.
So what do you think would be a good quality for a student in perspective? Like, what do you think, like what kind of quality the student would have who could make, the learning experience much better for them?
Oh, yes. I wanted to talk about this because of this bigger idea that I have for Toru. I feel like I want to establish some kind of platform to implement better studying habits, so students from a high school level or even younger could have a better studying habits, and like, how do I say this? Like they could approach learning in a better way, because
instead of just highlighting and stuff, right?
yeah, because I think, so like what you said, the quality in the good quality in the student is what I think, when they want to learn, like when they realize and really, really realize and believe that learning is for themselves and they want to learn, and learning is fun, learning new things, new skills is fun, and when they really want to learn, not just for grades, not just so like, there is a difference between when they are just sitting in class because their parents paid for it, and when they're sitting in class because they really want to understand what you're telling them. So yeah,
I really like this quote from my hero, actually, Salman Khan. Do you know, like the founder for Khan Academy?
Yeah.
Like one of his TED Talk was about how we should teach for mastery, not for grades. Because especially for foundations, and it's like a building, like he made that analogy. Like if you completed 90% of the foundation, you don't just keep building, you finish that 10% off. In our school system, we just ignore that 10% and we just keep on going up. And as you go 10%, 10%, 10%, and when you get a certain stage, of course you're not going to get everything, because by the time when you get to when you get like when the time get to year 10 or year 11, all those 10% will have a big effect on you. Like, and then you will think yourself as like, I'm not a math person, but no, you just need a little bit more time. And I really, really like that quote.
And that key thing that you just mentioned, so people, or especially kids, thinking to themselves, I'm not a math person, or I'm not a science person, or I'm not an English person. If they keep implementing that idea, if they keep repeating it, it feels so sad. Even like every time they sit in math class, whether it's tutoring or whether it's, or maybe even like when they come to us, when they come to tutors, they will still have that idea in mind, and that is so sad. Like
it's like a cage, like to them.
Yeah.
And they will feel that it is normal for me to not get a math concept.
Yeah. Like they would think that I'm going to tutoring because I'm bad at this, not because I can improve in this, not because I can get better. Really, like not because they will think that they will never be interested in it, or they can't do well, or like achieve higher, I don't want to say grades, but like they can't do well in the subject because they give themselves this identity that they keep implementing each time they try to learn it. And
I can't disagree that some people are more instinctive in terms of STEM subjects, but I think that with enough help and with enough time, everyone can get every concept in math, physics, bio, or chem.
Especially at the foundation level, like you said, at high school level, it's not, we're not trying to raise everyone as
a rocket scientist or anything.
Yeah, exactly. But at the foundation level. So I really hope that one day maybe we can build a platform to implement better learning habits for kids and better mindset for this. To a better mindset for approaching learning, so that they really will want to learn things for themselves, and they're actually interested in learning it.
Because I thought because I think that you had this mindset previously, like you are not you're not a math person, right? Because in year 11, when I first met you, right, you were not confident in math, although you were getting good grades, okay grades, right?
Yeah, well, I guess that was just my introverted self being like, there will always be people better than me, and therefore I don't need to try as hard. I'll just pass. Yeah, like pass as in pass my own stand, or just get enough to get into the degree I wanted in uni or something like that. But and actually that kind of mindset has been lingering in the back of my mind recently as well. I feel like I will never be the best researcher. Like I will never be the discoverer of the next scientific paradigm, and therefore maybe I'll just sit back and just do enough. But yeah, trying to talk myself out of it as well. And I think that will make for another podcast actually. Like the idea of whether
how much is enough?
No, not how much is enough. Like for everyone, there will be something that we feel like we will never be the best at. But then what is the meaning of us trying our best and trying to achieve?
Did you get that from Haiku?
No.
Okay.
Well, yeah, we can talk about Haiku because, yeah, that definitely comes in.
Yeah, just a side thing. We are very big anime fans.
We're not very big. We haven't watched a lot of classics, but we have recently becoming more enthusiastic in terms of anime watching, and there's been a lot of the series that we picked up together.
So in Haiku, there was an idea on, high school students can never be a professional volleyball player, so why try so hard and
what's
and compete?
The meaning in this?
Like you're not gonna get anything out of it except for
to so many things.
So I think that's quite powerful.
It is. So there's and there's a lot of more famous people talking about this topic as well. So why we should still strive to achieve the best, even if knowing the fact that you
are very unlikely to achieve that.
99.999% of people are never going to make it to the top, be the best at whatever it is. But why we shouldn't just settle, basically. And it's very important.
And if anyone hasn't seen Haiku, I really strongly recommend it.
Same.
It is a really
Go
good
watch
anime.
Haiku, guys.
Yeah. When did you actually start to like Haiku? Which
we just changed the subject like that?
Yeah, that's okay. We get off rail.
I think maybe I get super touched and I get super emotional when the no spoiler, but when the teammates really trust each other and they really come together as a team. And because our protagonist and this main group that we are watching over, they're not the best, but they really strive to achieve, and they really work together and trust each other and try to improve. That was what really struck me.
The part that sold me on the anime was the protagonist saying, "No matter where you pass the ball, I will always spike it."
Ooh.
Yeah,
something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
And they put in the emotional BGM that always tears me up. It's just like,
okay, let's get back.
Watch the anime.
Well, let's get back.
Anyways, I think let's wrap it up with.
Yeah, I think it's a juicy. Good place to end it. I think.
No, let's end it with some juicy stuff.
Okay.
What are some... So we've been talking about all the good things about teaching, educating people, younger generation, blah, blah, blah.
It's all very inspirational, haven't
Yeah, so what are some of the less... the uglier things in this in this industry?
The problem with...
And disclaimer, this is our experience only.
So when you try to open up a company, And when you have a full mindset of wanting to bring the best teaching experience for students, there will always going to be something that comes up, right? And the fact that I have a lot more teachers now, and yeah, I have to manage the teachers. And we had an incident where a teacher actually left us, and it wasn't like a very, very
Pretty.
polite. Yeah, it wasn't
Yeah.
it was very ugly. Like I'll say, quite ugly. Like one of the ugly ones I have seen. So to start off,
So maybe we were just like have always been around nicer
no,
people.
like I
and
think
this
in the
shocked us.
education field, people are generally quite
Well,
nice,
but first of all, yeah, I guess. But
right?
first
Because
to
they
give
chose
some
this field. Like,
because they want to help.
yeah,
okay.
exactly, right?
But to set the context a bit, I remember you mentioning to me maybe a few weeks before this that you were thinking of letting them go.
Yeah, because
How did that
so
happen?
first of all, I reached contact with her because she was one of my co-workers previously in a company, and she taught ESL. And yeah, we thought that we could have a more ESL teacher because she seemed to have more experience. And
How's the quality of teaching in general?
she seemed really confident, and I heard one of her mock lessons. She seemed okay, and the way that she speaks, like the way that she speaks English is quite good also. And I think that she was quite good at teaching too. I mean, when you have that confidence factor, right? It adds a few points. Like she thinks that I know the best, and yeah. And so
No, you should clarify that made it sounded a little weird, but I think what you mean was, like the confidence factor is important in a good tutor.
yeah, it is. It is.
Yep. So basically, it was good complimenting her teaching. Okay.
And so I contacted her and asked her if she wants to join the company as a tutor. Like she doesn't have to quit her company at the time, so she can just do it as a side, and I won't.
And as a context, so all of our tutors are paid by, would you say that's commission? So
yeah, commission.
yeah, so it's commission based. So it doesn't cost anything for us to join, but we also don't get paid unless we are actively teaching students.
Yep. And I actually want to do more stuff with her because we were very experienced in terms of the IB side, right? And because we didn't do the HSC, so I knew what the HSC was about, but I didn't really have the very depth insight.
Yeah, so just to clarify,
Yeah,
in
IB.
case you're not aware, IB stands for International Baccalaureate Diploma. It's one of the
Biggest
degrees that you can do in high school.
Yeah,
Whereas,
it's worldwide.
yep,
Kim
yeah,
Jong-un did the
international.
IB.
Yeah, both of us did the IB.
I mean, Kim Jong-un did the IB.
Oh, yeah, Control did the IB as well, apparently. And HSC
stands for no,
high school.
secondary certificate. Yeah, it's a
The high school certificate in New South Wales.
Yep. And yeah,
Australia.
she's been doing HSC ESL tutoring for quite a long time. So I thought that if I can get more of her insights and to see how we can, make the structure a lot more strong. And so I said, do you want to do a Zoom meeting so we can talk more about it? If you're not free, it is completely fine. So she said, okay, we can do Friday like 11 o'clock. I was like, okay. So on Friday, I created a room, and yeah, I sent her the link.
Was that a couple of weeks ago?
No, it was all the way back in April.
Oh, April. Okay,
Yeah.
sorry. So it was the very start.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so by the time I sent her the link of Zoom, she didn't turn up. And after a day, I was a little bit worried because, imagine something bad happened to her or something. So I was like, are you okay? Like, I haven't heard from you. and are you okay? And she's like, after a day also from that reply, after a day, like she says, oh, she didn't say I'm sorry. I was like, and she's like, I got so much work. And
is she a student?
She's a uni student, yes.
Okay.
I think she's doing her master's. And she doesn't have the time. I was like, okay, so when are you available, if you are? And she's like, we can do it next Tuesday, I think it was, or something. And so I was like, okay, so what specific time? You can do the time, because I thought...
Let's speed up this section a little bit, because I feel like you're getting too much into the conversation that happened back in April.
Okay,
so in summary,
so basically she stood me up twice.
Yeah.
She never got to the Zoom call.
Right.
And so she basically said that she doesn't have enough time,
right.
and she doesn't feel like that she has the 精力, how do you say that?
Energy.
Energy or the time to do any of this. I was like, okay, so you can just tutor. It's okay. I was like,
oh, so initially you wanted to invite her as like
a manager,
a managing role,
yeah.
But instead she just ended up joining as a tutor.
Yes.
Okay, and
so we had a new student a few weeks ago, and so I thought that I can give her a go, and so I was like, okay, so when can you start? Okay, and what time can you start? And she said she can start on Sunday. And Sunday was like 2 weeks after. I was like, okay, so I can talk to the students and make sure that the time is okay for both of you. And yeah, we set it up. And then we had a system called Notion where we actually organize all the teachers' schedules and the Zoom link and everything. So all they have to do is to download the app, and to register, it takes like 2 minutes. It's free. And we can take care of everything from then. So she's like, okay, I'll create the Zoom link. And okay, I'll create that Notion. Okay. And I was like, okay, so you can send me the email. And yeah, so after about 2 days, she hasn't replied. So on Wednesday, just 4 days before the actual lesson, she still hasn't replied. But I've got to get the teacher confirm which teacher to teach, right? So if she can't teach, I got another teacher that's waiting to have a student. So I just gave the other teacher the student. Because
when did she end up getting back to you?
She ended up getting back to me on Wednesday night.
Oh, so you reached out to another teacher on Wednesday?
I reached out to the other teacher on Tuesday because I had the feeling that she might stood me up again. Because she had the previous history with stood me up, right? So I gotta have a plan B, right?
I guess, yeah.
And so,
so also I think a bit of context to mention here is that, so things have been running a bit slow on our side as well as a new startup. For example, the Notion system we only managed to set up I think a week ago. So yeah, it was really recent as well. Trying to juggle things around. So at this time, if a new student is joining, because Tianyu is doing most of the management himself, I can understand why he can get a bit anxious and want to try and do plan things beforehand, etc.
Yep. And yeah, so and I said to her, sorry that I'm sorry, basically, and because you haven't replied to us for 3 days or already, so we thought that you are not interested in accepting student, so we gave the student to someone else.
Yeah,
she got mad. She got actual mad. She went all Hulk on me, and she basically cursed. It was very, very ugly,
and left.
And she blocked every contact, and and I tried to explain to her. So I ended up sending her an email to do my explanation. And she replied on the day. And because I thought that there is a misunderstanding, and I do feel like I didn't do my part the best, but I certainly wasn't wrong.
Okay. Yeah, I think maybe it was just a mismatched time and bad communication somewhere.
But her word was very, very ugly, and and just yesterday I actually got the reply from the email. It was just basically more cursing, and it was
I feel like I feel like how so from what I saw, which were just the messages, not the email. I feel like, how do I say this? Like it came to you, like I think you handled yourself well, but it was still a bit of a shock to you, would you say?
I shocked when on her response. Yes, I did.
Yeah, because
I didn't realize
at the time, previously you thought you could trust her, and
yeah.
So you were, I think you were quite put off by the response and a little bit.
Yeah, she seems very polite on the outside. She seemed like a very, very polite person.
Guys, but Tianyu is also very quick and gullible to trust others, so,
and
he's easily fooled by what's on the surface, so, like, it's fair with him for that.
But, it was kind of shocking to see the other side.
Yeah, of course, yeah. I think you got, definitely thrown off, to say the least.
But I definitely tried to say that I shouldn't get emotion into, because I can easily get into the fight and win. I want to keep being the big man here. I want to be the professional person that I want to be.
And I feel like, I feel like you thought even if this wasn't going to work out, both of you would still maintain a professional,
healthy relationship, at least.
Adult.
Exactly.
But instead it didn't turn out that
company,
way.
Like if you want to leave, and if you don't want to accept the lessons anymore, you can do this. You can reject it with politeness, right?
I think so. But the thing is, I think it's still the fact that she didn't want to reject, and she was taken off by you giving the lesson to someone else without a last warning, kind of thing.
I warned her twice.
Okay.
Yeah, and she said she'll get to it, but she never got to it.
But how did you warn her?
I was like, okay, so because I warned her because I warned her about you need to set up that Notion, and that's how you can see the Zoom link, basically.
Yeah, but I think you didn't specifically say the words of, if you don't get back to me by date or time, I am giving the lesson to someone else.
I don't want to say that.
I think you should be quite frank about that, honestly.
Okay, I'll keep that in mind.
Because I wouldn't call
she kind of promised me like she will get to it before she sleeps, but she doesn't. So,
but you shouldn't count on that. I think you need to make it very clear in text that you are going to do what if she doesn't get back to you by that. Like, you need to be clear about that.
I'll keep that in mind.
Yeah, I think that's really important for management role. Like otherwise, she could literally sue you if we had a proper contract about this kind of thing set up, right? So, because to her,
she wouldn't win the suit.
Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter, because what I think is, to her, she might be thinking, this is mine. I had this, secured, but you took it away without properly acknowledging that kind of thing. I think you need to get things done in text, in writing.
Okay, I think
like
so. You think more directly? And say, okay.
Yeah, definitely. Because you guys might have a like you said a mismatch in understanding. She might have taken your words for a different meaning. You may have taken hers for a different meaning. So you need to be very, very direct and explicit about your communication on this kind of thing.
Okay.
You need to.
I'll keep that in mind.
Yeah, I think it's very important.
Next time.
Yeah.
So that was
time.
kind of the ugly side.
And also, like, you know, even though when you called me and stuff, you said you handled it very well and very calm and
I
stuff.
thought I handled it pretty well.
I would disagree, maybe a little bit, because in the way that
Okay,
I feel like you would
put
have.
into context. Well, this is the first time that
Yes.
I
Yes,
met
I
a
acknowledge that.
teacher
Yeah.
that was basically rude.
Yeah. So that's why I wanted to talk about this. Like, the way basically Tiang Yu responded was send him this kind of essay, like send her back like a really long message, basically addressing to all of her complaints. But when it was sent, the account was already blocked. And another thing is, she was communicating this with our admin WeChat account, messaging account. So Tiang Yu, like, trying to maintain, I don't know, the professionalism, like, replied in the third person kind of voice.
I think
even though she
work
was
and personal should be different.
Yeah, but even though she was addressing you directly, so I think that's another sign that maybe it thrown you off a little bit, and you were trying to not be personally involved.
I think that even if we had a disagreement, or I say like a fight in terms of work, it's fine. But I don't think that she should have bring it to a personal level.
Yeah, I
because
think so too.
We knew each other before we had the work.
Yep.
And even though we weren't like good friends or anything.
Okay, so you wanted So you wanted that, like, you use the work term because you wanted to keep that to work and the personal.
I do want to separate it.
I know, but I feel like you maybe should have spotted, like, the way she responded was a sign that she wasn't gonna give you a chance to properly explain yourself and justify it.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, it makes me a little sad to see you trying to address all of her complaints.
Yeah.
In that sense.
Well, send her an email.
Yeah, as well, which I would have told you not to. No, like, honestly,
I think I would, even if
for you, okay, for you, if that brings closure, then sure, I guess, if that helps you to process it. But yeah, I feel like as soon as she decided to get emotional, and not like and get things ugly, she was gonna flee. Like, she wasn't gonna be there and listen to you justifying yourself.
Yep.
Right. As soon as she got emotional, it was basically she's just going to lash out and then block all of your contacts.
Yep.
Like, yeah, it is. Of course, it seems obvious because now we're looking back like that. But yeah, it was.
It wasn't.
It wasn't fun, but it was
a learning experience. I'll say it was definitely a learning experience for both of us. Because for me, I'm very new at managing teams, and
but now like, be more direct.
Yeah,
it's definitely you need to, like. I feel like even though you said you didn't do anything wrong,
but I'm actually glad that it happened.
Yeah, I'm glad it happened too. It happened early on before she actually committed to teaching that student. Nothing happened in front of our students. So, and nothing happened further down the track.
Yeah.
When she becomes more involved.
Because
in this,
even if it doesn't happen in this one case, I feel like
eventually
it would eventually happen at some point. Because.
So I think overall we were glad it worked out. It worked out by itself.
Yep.
Even though we weren't. We didn't particularly enjoy the way it worked out.
We're not proud of it.
Yeah, we're not proud of the way it worked out, but
But I'm glad
it handled itself.
Yeah.
But I think definitely in the future,
be more direct. Okay, sure.
Definitely.
I'll keep that in mind.
Like, even though you said you didn't do anything wrong, I feel like the fact that you didn't
I didn't do anything wrong, but I didn't do anything perfectly, I'll say. This can totally
I feel like
be
it was
avoided.
a little bit of your fault as well.
Of course, of course.
So you did do something wrong.
Well,
Like it wasn't as bad as her reaction, but come on.
no, I don't feel like I've done anything. Like it shouldn't. Like I don't think that I've done anything wrong in terms of. I think I handled things not too well, but definitely not wrong, because
I think
it was
one
her
thing-
that actually didn't like respond. So if you don't respond, I have to get on moving, right? I can't just wait for you.
You didn't make that clear. I think that's
It is
something you should have done better.
okay. Yeah, I'll keep that in mind. Yeah, but from the experience that she stood me up twice,
Yeah.
it really kind of influenced the way.
You made that decision.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. If it was a teacher that didn't, so for example, if it was me,
I will actually reach out to you and like if it's any other teacher,
Yeah.
like any of our other teachers, I will actually wait for them.
yeah.
And because she had the history of stood me up twice,
That's interesting. Should you get past experience influence your decision making in one particular instance? Because for this thing, maybe you shouldn't have. Like, you did, but wouldn't you say that that was also, a bit emotional and not
okay. Like the
的确，
reason
so-
why I said that is because I also has her Instagram, and she said that she was really busy, but she's not. She's partying.
See, then you're getting other things get
Yeah,
in the way.
yeah.
So I feel like then you are not living up to what you said before, which was separating your professional identity from your
Yeah, that's true.
personal
That's
side,
true.
right? Come on. In that sense, I think there was a little bit wrong.
Yeah,
fault
I'll say that
at
my
your
decision
fault.
was kind of emotional too.
Yeah.
And
I'm surprised by that actually, because I expected you to live up to what you said about separating that. Because if you didn't let your personal experience with her and looking at her social media, etc., get in the way.
But the stood him up twice was for the work.
Yeah, but I still wouldn't. So on a case like this, which may backfire, like now, like this, in this case, maybe you treat everyone the same. Give last warning clearly.
Yeah, I should give last warning clearly, but I don't think I should treat everyone the same. That's for me. Because, I mean, yeah, she can easily stood up the student, and I have to be responsible for the student, right? She already paid.
Yeah, I know.
And I have to get plan B out.
Yeah. But even then, like, lack of clearly stating that puts you in a bad position. Like, I'm not saying it's, how do I say this? Like, doing that would be, it's because I want you to protect yourself, not because I want you to care for how she feels.
Okay, got it.
Right?
Yep.
Because if we look back on that, it will show that you didn't clearly state that. It will look bad if we actually, investigate the issue. It will look bad for the company image because you are representing.
Yeah, that's true.
Company.
That's true. I'll keep that in mind.
Am I good?
Yes, you're good. Okay, I think that's a good place to end it for this first episode.
Hope you, if anyone's listening, hope you've enjoyed this very random and wide-ranging conversation about our very personal lives.
Yeah, so this is episode 1. I think we plan to do this weekly, I think, right?
Hopefully, yeah.
Yep, okay. Well, then I'll see you next time.
Yep.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.